Hey everybody! We're back with more Terra Invicta, but this time for realsies. Jim Proud, thank you for the 69 resub, by the way. Nice. And Omega Syntax and Tribulove, thank you for your resub, 61 and 20 months, respectively. So, we're back, everybody. As I somewhat hinted at on Tuesday, I'm going back into an XCOM similar kind of game. I played the demo on this a few weeks ago, and now the game's out in early access, and I love it. And yes, it does have the save feature this time, because this is the full release. You can play as any of the human factions as they try to come to grips with a sudden arrival of aliens. And also, Dirter, thank you for the 3-month resub. Lord of Endgame, thank you for the 18-month resub. It's so much resubbing! It's not a hype train, it's a boost train, apparently. I don't know if this is any different. So, what we're doing right now. I actually put a poll up last week asking what people would do. I put this up on Twitter, and I didn't say it was for this game because I wanted a blind study, quote-unquote. And I said, aliens have arrived, they don't seem too friendly, what do you want to do? And I picked kind of the four philosophies that of the factions that I wanted to play through. And 52% went with, we're gonna leave. So we're actually going to be playing as Project Exodus, who want to escape the aliens by sending humans to other stars. I'm going to actually go with a slightly smaller solar system. How many objects? 100. Yeah, I do want to keep 8 factions, so I think I'm going to drop it to medium. This is going to cost us essentially some Lagrange points. And probably smaller asteroids, but you'll have all the planets in the solar system, most of their kind of notable moons, so I still think this is a pretty good experience. It's just a little tighter, and hopefully the frame rate doesn't try to chug when it renders the whole thing out. I am going to change some things about the faction. I think I'm going to actually rename this to the Ark Society. Faction adjective. Arkist? Nah, that's way too artsy-fartsy. Let's go with, let's just go with Ark Society. Spelled correctly. Faction leader, How about Headmaster? And then we'll add, and one of the reasons I did want to change this, I actually did want to change the default name of our ships after being produced to Exodus. All right. Let's go. So I'll try to introduce, for those who didn't watch the demo, me play the demo last time, I'll try to reintroduce a lot of the concepts. It is kind of dense. Essentially, the conceit of the game is you start as human, as kind of cabal of shadow... Oh. I don't know why the game capture failed. Hold on, maybe I can fix that. I think the problem is it was trying to... Yeah, can you do that for me? Oh boy. So the game's... There we go, okay. So that's all working now. Alright. We're back, okay.
We remember the day the stars answered. The day we learned we were not alone. As a familiar sun rose on an unfamiliar universe, some of us saw wondrous possibility and others existential danger. The astronomers had insisted that the bright streak in the sky was no natural phenomenon. Most of us didn't really believe them until it burned through our atmosphere and crashed in a remote region, leaving only wreckage and uncertainty. In our ignorance, we fractured, taking refuge in our most primal emotions. Each of us saw what we wanted to see. It is disconcerting at first to awaken to an unfamiliar home. To open your eyes and see that everything you knew has changed forever. But unease has long been the price of wisdom. There comes a time when we must accept change, no matter how great. There comes a time when we must all leave home.
Fuck this shit, we're out. Alien vessel has crashed down on the Ivory Coast.
Greetings, Director. The Council has appointed you leader
Headmaster.
of our organization. I am Khalid Al-Ashkar, your Deputy Administrator. The alien crash landing represents both great opportunity and great danger. As such, we have formed a small group drawn from those with particular expertise in astrophysics, intelligence analysis, and space exploration. We must learn what these creatures are, where they came from, and what they plan to do on Earth.
I recommend we send a counselor to investigate the crash site in the Aberdeen region as soon as possible. Our other counselors may be best used in trying to gain influence in nations that may be able to contribute resources to our cause. You may review our objectives and blah 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 blah. So, like before, first contact came when an alien spacecraft aerobraked in our upper atmosphere before crashing down in remote territory and apparently self-destructing. The remains of that spacecraft could potentially advance human spaceflight capabilities by centuries. We should send a counselor to the site immediately. So we're not going to do that. So, let's see. What do we have here? We have a diplomat in the United States.
Ready to go.
And an operative from Bolivia. An operative this early on. That would be interesting to work with. Persuasion sucks. So, for those of you who didn't watch the demo, Terra Invicta is a game that is kind of half grand strategy, half politicking simulator. We start here on October 1st, 2022, just a week in the future. Alien spaceship crashed down in Africa, and we are just a cabal of people trying to come to grips with the reality of the situation as the nations of Earth seem to, not do much on their own. Let's see. So, as the Ark Society, our ultimate goal is leave. Aliens have shown up. As we'll find out later, they do not come in peace. And we do not think we stand a chance. So eventually, we always should have just left Earth. Anything bad could happen here would ruin us forever. So why not leave? Now, there are resources to keep into account, especially in the early game. You have these resources up here, which denote what kind of stuff you can move around in space and build stuff with. We can get to those later. And then, of course, you have your kind of Earth side resources. You have money, influence, ops, boost. Boost is essentially like all of these resources, but from Earth. So it kind of takes into account the fact that Earth has what you need. It just takes effort to launch it into space for you to use. Mission control is your cap on how many satellites or colonies you can have off of Earth. We already have one. Starting as Project Exodus, we actually get control of the Tiangong station, which is essentially controlled by China, but, being a Shadow Cabal, we have control over it. Nothing is attached to it, unlike the Academy, who gets the International Space Station, which actually has some stuff on it. And it's, in the shadow of Earth, so you can't really see it that well. So our first priority is to get influence in countries, because countries will give us money, give us influence, and give us all the other juicy stuff we need to actually launch into space and conduct this interplanetary war. So, the first move you make in the game is pretty crucial. You have to kind of nail down what countries you want to try and shoot for control over. And kind of dig in as a power base. Your kind of optimal strategy is picking a kind of either superpower or major power, for example, the countries I'm kind of rolling my cursor over, to kind of anchor yourself around, and then once you're well established there, grow outwards as long as you're able to fit control points, these little dots here, into your cap. Essentially, the better developed a country is, the more this control point costs, the more it counts against your cap. So you could probably take over almost all of Africa and be within your cap, but most of these countries are underdeveloped and wouldn't give you much unless you put a lot of effort into developing them. Or you could go ahead and gun it straight for China, but your cap is probably actually going to be exceeded just by these 6 control points. And also China's hard to take over because as a very cohesive, very populous, very rich country, it's not very susceptible to being taken over by a Shadow Cabal. Now, as Project Exodus, our goal is to kind of get a lot of boost, get into space early, and start building up an industrial base. For that, there's kind of one best country. Technically two, but you have an interesting outlier of Kazakhstan, which is rather poor, not very populous, rather easy to take over at game start. The reason it's special is because it inherited from the Soviet Union the Baikonur Cosmodrome, which has the most boost you can get at the start of game. It's all there, all tucked away, and the country you can get like that right at the start. The second best, I would say, is France, for several reasons. One, wow, really? 36% of the French wanted to go ahead and submit to the aliens. Make your French surrender joke now, because that's sure fitting. France for several reasons. One, it's just a kind of good all-round country. It's rich, it's populous, it has some nice research. It's also the head of the European Union. Debate that in the comments, but the head of any sort of federation in-game can eventually unite with the other federation members. So if you're able to get control of a lot of the European Union countries, you can actually merge them into a superstate pretty early in the game. But, thirdly, it actually has a nice spaceport down here in South America. One of the holdovers from the great colonial times, he said sarcastically. But the benefit of having that spaceport down here is actually because it is more efficient to have your boost facilities close to the equator. The more kind of resources you invest into developing boost, I'll get into all this when we actually have a country to control. But the more you invest into boost and the closer you are to the equator, the more efficient your production is. So France having this down here is pretty helpful, especially to contrast from the fact that Kazakhstan can pump a lot of stuff into the Cosmodrome, but isn't going to grow as quickly as France can grow what do they call it? The Centre Special Guineas, and oh boy, I probably butchered that. So, since I have one diplomat, a counselor that's good at kind of taking control of countries, and one operative, someone who's good at a few other things, but not really good at taking over countries, here's what I'm going to do. I initially thought I was going to... Maybe... He's not that good at any of the stuff I need him to be right now, and sending him after the crashed ship seems like a bit of a waste, so maybe I might just fire this girl. Wait, that is not a masculine voice. Hold on.
Ready for orders.
At your service.
Yeah, no, no. We're gonna have to talk about that. Fortunately, you can actually customize your operative, so let's go ahead and fix that now.
Going into hiding.
Yeah, sure. So I will go ahead and send Lionel here over to do a control nation mission in Kazakhstan. 44%, I'll put a little bit of influence into it, so the odds of success go up.
Putting our people in place.
Now
ready for orders.
Feliciano here. Ironbound, Ironbound, this was actually made by the people who made XCOM The Long War mod. Oh, you know what? I also promised myself I would do something here. So first, what sort of other people are we looking at? I'm thinking I might either fire... Wow, no one for 30 except for this Kingpin. And Kingpin can do some control, but that persuasion stat's pretty low. Let's see. Criminal can get the orgs. Non-grata. Can't do any missions in Japan. Good resource income. Security. Can't go into countries with high unrest. This person's got a lot of pluses and minuses to them. It's somewhat alluring, Because aside from that persuasion, most of their stats are pretty okay. However, this activist has the persuasion I'd want. But I'd have to wait until I can get 60. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to risk it. I might end up regretting this later, but I'm going to go ahead and grab you, Yamaguchi. And am I going to keep you? That's the question. Oh, okay, hold on. If I pay just a little bit of money, I can boost your persuasion right here and now. I think I might just go ahead and do that. Because 4 persuasion is still not all that good, but you already have great influence income, and I'd rather keep that. And so, yeah, this is kind of the RPG mechanic of the game, is you have these counselors that have certain stats, which let them have certain success rates on specific missions. Not every counselor is going to have access to all these missions. Like, our diplomat here can't really do much, but you know, trade that out with he's good at what little he can do. Yu Yamaguchi here is a criminal, meaning they actually have different choices when we do orgs, and org is a lot like equipment. If you're able to afford it and plug it in here, it can augment their stats. So, I'm actually going to keep that. And before I forget, I did want to customize you. Your new name is Vamp from the Family Planet. And I can customize the looks later. Yeah, I mean, I could...
Initiating deep cover.
Oh, actually, I can't... Huh.
Going silent.
Oh, wait, that was the problem.
Going off the grid.
Evading pursuit.
Going
Okay.
silent.
Going into hiding.
You know
Going
what?
into hiding.
Then I think I was too narrow
Hunkering
on my
down.
viewpoint previously.
Going off the grid.
Hunkering down.
Initiating deep cover.
Okay, well,
Evading pursuit.
I'm not exactly a fan of these two voices.
Evading pursuit.
Going silent.
Sure. Until I find someone to turn that operative into, I'll leave it at that. Do I want to give either of these ops to Yui? That's a lot of research, actually. But I feel like that's a bit of a waste to give to someone with no science in the first place. So the thing about orgs is you probably want to focus on orgs that just better enhance what your operative's already good at, or at least kind of even them out. So giving science orgs to any of these people is kind of wasteful, because while it does boost their research income, which boosts the overall research of our faction, they take up an org that I could give them to enhance their persuasion or their espionage, or give them a couple of other missions. So I'm going to go ahead and leave these on the table. Actually, spaceflight program is something. I will grab that, and that almost breaks the bank for us, so I'm going to leave it there. Alright, so I have one person going for Kazakhstan. You can't control nation. I forgot about that. Honestly, that's a problem. I will go ahead and send you to investigate.
Headed there
then.
now.
You
Standing by.
can't do really much in Japan, and you can't go to North Korea. Wait, is your hometown North Korea or what? No, it's Tokyo. Why can't you go to North Korea? The unrest isn't high enough. I'm not exactly sure why you can't go there. Oh, rivals of home nation. Okay. So, because North Korea is rivaled... Yeah, no, there's some slight diplomacy here. And because of that, that's why you can't go to North Korea. Got it. Kyle Surreal, you want South Korea? South Korea doesn't go into the plan. I'm sorry, it's just out of position. Because here's the thing. Getting Kazakhstan kind of splits my choice. Because by itself it's relatively cheap, I can still afford to branch out into another country. Going with my original idea of kind of anchoring around a major or superpower, that leaves me with Russia, which makes the most sense because it's part of a federation with Kazakhstan, or China, which, you know, because you get a slight border for taking over countries that are next to each other. I could, in a slightly longer game, not that this would be a shorter game, but just saying the plan itself would take longer, take over South Korea, take over North Korea, have them unite, and then use that against China. But that would take about a year, and that's assuming I could take control of North Korea, and unfortunately the one guy that could do it is taking over Kazakhstan. What are your odds if I send you to Kazakhstan? Pretty low, because you're not made for persuading. Go ahead. I could do Himalayan states to still kind of frame myself around China, but I'm thinking I want to do Belarus, because it's cheap and it would still help me take over Russia. It would cost me so much of my influence to do that. For just a 50-50 shot, ugh.
Taking control.
The plan may already be falling apart. Alright, let's see how all this goes down. Management team. Same as I said before, really, I need the ops income the most, because everything else still has stuff that trickles in. So I'm actually going to go with officers and operators to give me some extra ops income. The growing realization that we are not a sole sapient species in the universe is causing many to see their fellow humans in a new light, except for the French, who just want to surrender. Leading to hopes that we can overcome our capacity for strife to address the alien arrival as one people. Huzzah.
Recon complete.
I have learned some useful information. We have completed the Investigate Alien Crash Site. Despite heavy security, we have been able to gather some debris from the crash site. Our scientists are able to begin research. So we get a little extra influence and science from that. We have managed to acquire a scattering of alien debris that will hopefully enable us to begin the long, slow process of understanding the alien technology. We should begin research immediately. I'm actually going to wait.
Our supporters are in place.
Okay, that's good.
Our supporters are in place.
That's great. So now, fortunately, I don't have to spend the next turn finishing it, because I need both of these control points to have full control of the country. But you're not able to get this final executive control point unless you have, you know, one of the other control points behind it. So because these are only 2 control points, I've locked down these countries. Someone would have to steal this control point from me before they could take over the country itself. So I don't have to spend the next turn locking that down. It's already locked down. We haven't actually... Huh, the UN event hasn't gone off yet. That's interesting. Alright, let's see. What other country should I go ahead and grab? I'm thinking... So these countries here aren't in the Eurasian Union, Russia's kind of puppet federation, but they are claimed by it. So if I wanted to... Yeah, that's right, Japan's a rival of Russia. Could grab Mongolia for just the proxy. Let's do Mongolia. I'll probably actually ditch Mongolia later, because you can abandon countries that are not doing you much favors and counting against your cap. So go ahead and work on... Yeah, let's see if 59% is still good enough.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
Do other
What's the
planets
op?
have countries? No. So you are able to settle on other... In fact, here, let's take a look at the whole solar system. You are able to establish colonies on any of these bodies in the system, but they're governed directly by whoever controls them. The only place you have to do this kind of politicking is on Earth, for better or worse. There is talk of there being a kind of foothold scenario where there are already kind of extraterrestrial colonies. I'm not sure if they're going to kind of transplant the country mechanics to those or not. But for the moment, it's just Earth that has the politics. And you do have to spend a lot of
Reporting
time here. Okay, so where are other people showing up? It looks like... So there's some fighting in Brazil. No one showed up in Europe yet. No one's got North Korea yet, but the Academy is starting to dig in South Korea. They might be trying to go for kind of an Asian plan. Ooh, I wonder if a lot of the factions... Oh, here we go. Protectorate. Protectorate are the... We want to surrender. I'll go in more detail as each faction as they introduce themselves. Let's see here. You... How about you... not having you do Control Nation is kind of cramping my style. You don't have much administration, so having you advise people isn't really worth it. Actually, where did that ship end up? Go ahead and survey the location.
Surveilling target area.
See if you
At
can
your service.
See what happened over here. You... I'm going to make for a very interesting play here. I'm actually going to send and try to see if I can't snag Israel. Israel is an interesting little country down here, mainly because it already has a space program, and it's, you know, relative to the other countries I'm looking at, it's closer to the equator. So what I could do is continue to invest in the boost, or I can at least use it to create some mission control and increase my cap of making colonies later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can't snag Israel.
Establishing control.
As kind of a little foothold down south. I'll go ahead and leave it at that.
On Overwatch.
We have detected what appear to be alien microbes in plants in the Abidjan region of the Ivory Coast. They are thriving and threaten to displace the native biota, which strangely does not seem to be resisting their advances to the degree we would expect. A direct application of force, either via counselor mission or army operation, should be able to reduce or even eliminate the spread. We will begin preparations for a research project to better understand the phenomenon. Alright. Yeah, so a good thing to keep in mind is that when the alien ship crashes, it's not just, whoops, Earth got in the way. It's, we're deliberately tossing these. Alright, UN Security Council is met. Unfortunately, the whole first show of international unity did not materialize. Countries fight, yada yada yada. We are loud and proud people who want to leave Earth, so we are going to deliver our manifesto for a good influence boost, which will help us get our 4th counselor, and if anyone else does it, they also get... Oh, no one else did it! Everyone finds out about us, but no one decided to reveal themselves. So that does mean all of our counselors are immediately revealed. Everyone knows where they are. There is a mission, go to ground, where you can kind of reset their stealth. But that's the price. That's the price of 50 influence. We at least get to grab whatever counselor we want now. Let's see. I did like the look of this activist, but they only are good at persuasion. Everything else kind of sucks. This journalist has a more even spread between the first 3 stats. Let's see. Persuasion heavy, a bit more balanced, but Celebrity. The administration is a good stat to keep an eye on because this is like their cap on how many orgs they can equip. So even if his other stats suck, the fact that he has higher administration means you can at least try and make him better. Oh, I do like this spy, but doesn't have control nation. I can't compromise that on that twice. It may end up being one of these activists. Even though I really don't like this guy. He has no administration, which means I can't get him out. This one doesn't have any admin either, but much higher influence income. But another non-grata. But then again, it's Nigeria. How many rivals does Nigeria have? Algeria. That's Mali. I may have forgotten where Nigeria is. There we go. Okay, no rivals, and I really doubt Nigeria is getting any rivals anytime soon. No, but you are a megastar. Which means I should never use you for espionage, and that's one of your higher stats. Oh boy. If this journalist had control nation, I'd almost be willing to settle. Same for the spy. I guess I'll go with Marlon here and just hope that persuasion's gonna carry the day for a while. So I do have one project going in the tech tree. These
Taking over.
perfect. Just what I
We got our
needed.
people in place.
Why did you get a control? Oh yeah, I forgot I sent you to Mongolia. Spent too much time thinking about that next agent. So anyway, technology. You have 3 pieces of global research which everyone in the world is researching. These are like general concepts that everyone in the world is putting their mind towards and learning about. Once this stuff is researched, a lot of it leads to projects, more like specific applications of the concept that lead to specific pieces of technology. At the moment, all I can do is research the alien stuff or these repeatable techs. I would actually like to complete this once, just to get a little bit more of an influence. Actually, no, I'm making almost 60 influence a month. Yeah, forget that. Change it. Let's learn more about the aliens. And go ahead and dabble a bit in Skywatch, too, because we need to see where the hell these guys are. Alright, so... Nope, we got some more orgs, but we don't have any money. Yeah, so that's the problem with going with this Russian strategy. You get a lot of boost. The Academy already has a foothold here. You get a lot of boost, but a lot of the stuff up here is kind of poor. And the poorer the nation is, the less money you can pull out of it. Alright, so... I'm going to go ahead and leave this as is, even though the economy is going to suffer a whole bunch. Oh, and I'll also point out, if you have the first time you play the game, you probably want to try taking over the United States. It's rich and populous, but if you take control of Canada and take control of Mexico, you have enough kind of you outflank it politically. You get enough influence kind of on the periphery that it should be pretty easy to take over these slots. Though you'll probably have to abandon Canada and Mexico after doing it. The United States pretty much is the jack of all trades at the beginning of the game. Good research, 6 armies, good military tech. It has the best navy, which isn't simulated in the game. You just have this little anchor next to your army. But if you go to war with anybody, they become blockaded, and even if their army have the anchor, they can't traverse over the ocean. So you pretty much can fight with impunity unless you run across somebody with nukes, of which you have 28, but Russia does beat you out with 30. So it looks like the Academy did grab a control point in Russia. That's not too bad, but it is problematic. I think I'll go ahead and have Vant Planet start trying to dabble in taking, oh geez, half of my influence for just less than 50%.
Taking control.
It'll have to do.
Ready for orders.
I don't want you assaulting that yet. I think I have better things for you to do, like maybe cracking down on this point. Weakening it. Oh geez. I guess not. You know what? I'll go ahead and shoot for the 1%.
Terminating the opposition.
The worst you can do is
Where do
make
you
them
need
hate
me?
us. Oh, actually, you know what? I should have checked to see what countries already aligned with my ideology. Like Pakistan, 22%. That would have been good. Any other... like, we know France wanted to surrender. Looks like the escape ideology was not very broad. Let's see. I think here's the big list of nations I can look at. No, go back. Oh, Uruguay. Algeria, Kenya. Oh, Ukraine. Yeah, Ukraine. Sadly, and against what I think is valid, Ukraine did not start with an army. It just starts with a Russian army attacking one of its regions. So Ukraine would not have been the best pick to take over, from at least a gameplay perspective. The fact that you cannot go into a lot of the countries I'm aiming at is problematic. This, that would just be playing into the Chinese game, which may be a game worth playing, but I don't know. Go to Georgia.
Bringing them on
Just
board.
to try and boost my takeover
Acknowledged.
of Russia. Okay, actually, no. Van Planet, you stop.
Ready.
I think we can better allocate this. Okay, if no one's claiming North Korea, and that's
We'll bring
81%,
this
then
nation
yeah,
to
let's
our
take over
side.
North Korea.
Ready for
You
your orders.
go to Russia and give it a good try.
Establishing our presence.
Alright, looks like we probably found the Academy Counselor that's helping take over Russia.
We still lack support.
Oh, really? 81% and you blow it with a critical fail?
We've gained significant support.
Is Terra in chat sealing my luck? Okay, well, at least got one control point.
We've gained significant support.
Yeah, that's something.
The opposition remains in power.
Figured. Alright, where's the army I got control over? Moscow? Perfect.
Standing by.
Leave it there.
Where to? Establishing control.
Acknowledged.
Try for North Korea again.
Ready for my mission.
Let's see here. There's really no point in trying to crack down or purge these points because I don't have the influence to burn. Go ahead and investigate the counselor that was here. No, the other counselor. Where did the academy one go? No way they just effed off after taking that point. Fine, surveillance.
Initiating surveillance.
I'm here.
You... finish our takeover of Israel.
Bringing them to our side.
Every circumstance is an opportunity. Our test is to recognize and seize it.
So here we have the Illuminati, or the Initiative, as they like to rebrand themselves. The leaders of this shadowy cabal reveal little about themselves or their methods. In some regions, they are behind rampant rumors that the alien arrival is a fabrication by Earth governments and corporations. In others, they have founded companies selling products that allegedly protect from a fictitious alien disease they seem to have made up. So they're the ones that are like, how do we turn this to our advantage for personal gain?
They are here to cleanse our sick world. The aliens are our saviors, and all who oppose them are enemies of the future.
And here we have the Gene Stealer cult, otherwise known as the Servants. This group has determined the aliens are of divine origin and has declared itself their heralds and defenders. So on my offline, I actually am playing an initiative game, and it's interesting to see because actually for all of the story beats, like everyone researches the alien crash site, everyone does the alien signatures, but each faction has their own like little spiel that follows up on completing the objectives, and it's just interesting to see how their perspective changes. I've watched a Humanity First playthrough, which we'll get to soon, but they're always like, that's fascinating. How do we kill them? And the initiative's like, that's fascinating. How do we sell this? Victorian values.
We must not only defend human lives from the aliens, We must ensure those lives remain worth living.
Lord Endgame, yes, you can assassinate other counselors. They can they can resist you, and if they have the right trait, if you fail, you die. But you can take pawns off the board. Leaders of this group are convinced the aliens are a threat to humanity's ability to determine its own future, and they are quietly preparing to fight them. So essentially, this is your XCOM group.
Eyes up.
There is no doubt extraterrestrial life has touched down on Earth. The many questions we have regarding its origin, its species, and its intent will have to wait. All that matters now is finding it. By cross-referencing reports of unusual events in the vicinity of the landing site with similar data from our global intelligence network, we have developed a tracking system able to reliably identify disappearances most likely resulting from alien activity. Unfortunately, the samples we acquired were too small and limited to give us any real understanding of the alien spacecraft, though it has left us with tantalizing clues. In other news, an alien survived the crash and has moved into nearby wilderness territory. Oddly, we are receiving reports of disappearances in nearby communities. As yet, we have no explanation as to why. The majority of our research team believe the recent claims of alien abductions are simply a product of local superstition and media hysteria, but the frequency of the reports is becoming disturbing. Perhaps we should investigate. Our analysis of the alien debris, though limited, has produced fascinating results. While a minority of the debris evidence suggests that this ship was assembled within Sol's orbit, we should make it a priority to investigate further. Whatever path we choose, we need to have a better understanding of the aliens' technology. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear as though the aliens would hand over a working sample. So for now, not much to be done. Maybe we'll learn a bit more about this flora.
We've gained significant support.
Alright, we got North Korea.
We still lack support.
We did not get Russia.
We're taking over.
We got Israel. Alright. So, now that we have control of Israel, can go into better details about these priorities. So, every country, based on its economy, gets a certain number of investment points. There's 4.1 here. How those investment points are allocated determines on how you prioritize these things down here. Economy goes into just the general GDP per capita of the nation, defines its general economic health, determines how many control points it has, and determines how many investment points it has to spend on the different priorities. Welfare focuses on inequality and somewhat fights against unrest. Essentially, you're just making things more fair, reducing equity, and people are less likely to rebel. Knowledge is research. The more of it you have, the more educated the class is, the more likely you are to have democratic values, which affects this. If I go into it too much, I'm going to be here for a while. But I'm trying to say that a lot of this stuff is kind of interconnected. You can't just kind of maximize in one place without recognizing that a lot of the country is going to suffer otherwise. Unity goes against cohesion, which also determines unrest. Military determines your miltech level, so this tank here can be more powerful if you invest more into this. Spoils is corruption. You are directly pumping money out of the country. This causes it to pollute more. And yes, atmospheric qualities are tracked in the game. So you can, if you play too long and you have too many countries spoiling, cause global warming and climate change to increase, which causes GDP to go down. Master Reggie, thank you for the resub. Welcome to my TED Talk. Funding is a lot like spoils, but safer. Funding is it still ultimately affects how much money you're able to take out of the country, but instead of just like coming in, paying off the right people, and just outright stealing it, funding is investment. You're putting money in the right places, getting tangible returns. It's much slower, but it doesn't pollute and doesn't cause kind of the rest of the country to spoil. Boost is how much money you're putting into investing into your boost facilities, and all those combined give you the boost resource, which helps you throw stuff off-world. Mission control, more stuff into that, builds more mission control facilities, increases your mission control cap. Nuclear weapons, invest more into that, and you either get nuclear weapons in the first place. Only about 7 to 8 countries in the world currently have nuclear barrages. Or if you already have it, you can fill out a smaller number to get more of it. For example, Iran has 60-80. When they get to the 80 mark, they'll get their first atomic bomb. Everyone will know about it and judge them accordingly. And then they'll be able to have a nice big button to nuke someone with. So we can doom the planet, then leave? Oh, that's the problem is you never know. You don't know when you're gonna leave until you're ready to go. So the Ark Society doesn't want to ruin the planet too soon. So what I want to do is kind of focus Israel specifically on mission control. We already have Russia and Kazakhstan up here giving us our boost. Israel can give us our mission control. I'll still keep a little bit in funding just so we have some kind of money coming out. I'll also keep spoils at a low priority, but I think I will also invest more in the economy to make it just a generally healthier country. That unrest is really high, but it's not really coming from any direct source. Cohesion go all the way up to 10. For example, I think Russia and China have pretty high cohesion. Which, is both good and bad. Less likely to have unrest, but your whole society is kind of monolithic. Less in tune to diversity, which affects your research. So that's whole thing something I'm going to deal with later, but I think for Israel, we'll keep mission control maxed out. Inequality, if both of these are fine, I don't think I'm going to actually invest in them. Maybe, I'll put a little bit into military. Yeah, keeping these around 10% I think is okay. The highest miltech in the game, the highest miltech level in the game starts with the United States. Go figure at 4.5. So being at 4.2 means we're not that far behind. 4.3 actually means we're not that far behind the curve. So I think this is an okay start for Israel. I just need someone to stick around here and make sure there isn't a coup d'état. Go away. Which is actually
at your service.
One reason we could have kept you around. So you can come over here and make sure the country doesn't revolt.
We'll turn down the heat.
Reporting in.
Is it better to spread out or stay in close countries? You can try either strategy. The developers have gone out and said they didn't want to kind of create a few winning strategies. They just wanted to create a toolbox and then have people see what they could piece together. What I mentioned at the start of this was, especially if you're a beginner, you probably want to pick a superpower and try to anchor your power base around it. The cost of it being, if you do it correctly with the low cap you start with for control points, you're only going to have that one country for a while. Like if you're able to get the United States, you'll have to abandon all the other countries you have until you can get this cap up. For me, I can kind of grab a lot of the old Russian territories. I can grab Israel. I might be able to grab Singapore, which is a good place to get some extra money too. So I'm probably going to spread out a bit more than I think a beginner should. But you can try either strategy. Like you could probably spend your time taking over Africa. You're just not really going to see big dividends until much later in the game after you're able to kind of properly invest their different economies into something worthwhile, or merge them into a giant superstate, something you can also do with the right research. But for now, we have someone stabilizing Israel. Yui, I definitely want to keep taking stuff over. How about you go ahead and finish our conquest of Kazakhstan? Ideological conquest of Kazakhstan. Yeah, what are the odds of taking over China? Oh, you don't want to go to China because it's a rival of Japan. That non-grata is really coming back to haunt me. Yeah, do Kazakhstan. Ugh.
Putting our people in place.
I don't like it. You can only have to do that with low odds. I also want to see if I can't. So the last CP up for grabs in Russia is that executive, and if I can grab that, then I can kind of tolerate sharing the country with the academy for now. But the odds aren't the greatest.
Bringing them to our side.
Your orders?
Then we have North Korea, which unfortunately, so the problem is, the 80% it took me to take over North Korea is probably the same percentage for anyone else trying to steal this from me. North Korea, not very populous, not very rich, so really it only has the high cohesion that keeps it from being easily taken over, and that's not enough. So, like I said, what I usually do is, if I'm trying to get Korea, I actually take over both, and then essentially dismantle any sort of defense North Korea has and just let South Korea take it over. But the Academy has taken over South Korea, so that's not going to work. So the only real reason I have North Korea is twofold. One, it's one extra CP that abuts China, so I have a little bit more influence here if I choose to press it. And then two, it does have a nuke. So if I wanted to say, make China fire its 3 nukes for some reason, I could have North Korea piss it off, and the world, though, you know, heavily polluted in aerosols after the explosions, is largely unaffected. If I were to nuke China and do enough damage, the global GDP could collapse. Because the more rich the country is, the more it kind of has a cascade effect if you damage it too much. Aquasfer, thank you for the 31-month resub. So, all that being said for now, I might end up losing Korea, North Korea, but 5% for Japan? It's not, it's very low, but Japan's not a bad country to grab. It has its own space program, it has good research. If you properly invest its points well, this could be a good power base, and then it kind of opens up a lot of Southeast Asia. So it's a bit of a Hail Mary to go for 10%, but I've taken a CP in China on 1%, so do it.
Bringing them on board.
They are not life forms or xenosapiens. They are demons incarnate. They and the traitors who support them will face our judgment.
So here are the Emperor's sons, straight out of 40k, willing to purge the Xeno. The section has gathered all of Earth's xenophobia into its ranks. Its followers have rallied against the alien arrival without nuance, and they have even threatened humans to support finding a way to communicate with the aliens. So fortunately, Humanity First has a lot of enemies. They hate the servants for obvious reasons. They hate the Protectorate, you'll find out later, the alien appeasers. They hate the Initiative for being money-grabbing scum. They kind of really only tolerate the Resistance for wanting to fight, just not as hard, and Exodus for at least not being in the way. But they even have reason to hate us because we're sapping whatever effort could go into their fight. So, surprise, surprise, a lot of players' first game, at least for their Let's Plays and whatnot, has been with Humanity First. I don't blame them. It's like, if you want to fight the aliens, Humanity First is the way to go. The Resistance kind of half-asses it if you're gonna be fighting them. The problem is, don't let them get, both Humanity First and the Servants count as extremist factions. If you let them get a country with nukes and ever threaten them, they will nuke you. They will nuke you hard. So I don't like the fact that the Servants are getting a foothold in France. Humanity First hasn't gotten any nuclear power, so we're good there at least. If I get Pakistan, that kind of helps an India play, but then I'm spreading myself pretty thin. They do have a lot of Exodus. The majority of the population is either undecided or believe in the Ark Society, so it may be worth dabbling in Pakistan. Maybe I'll go for, my cap isn't big enough for it yet, but maybe I'll go like a pretty much Asian coalition. All this talking has made me thirsty, and all that thirst
Things are cooling off.
Oh, wow, really? Only 0.25? You're gonna have to do that for a while. Permanent assignment. So I am going to step away for just a little bit while I catch my breath and refuel my drink. But in the meantime, take a look at this Tiangong station circling the Earth. Isn't it fun? You can see the Earth in such brilliant detail.
Okay, all flight controllers, about 15 seconds to CSM Ark. CSM Ark. Roger, CSM Ark. Houston, we're standing by, over.
Not in Arabane, we got the high gain now.
You said you have high gain now?
That's affirming, he's having a little trouble locking up.
I didn't think we were going to get high gain. That's
Yes,
for the
sir.
dump, right?
That's affirming.
Okay. Columbia, Houston, over.
Houston, Columbia, reading you loud and clear. How many?
Rock, bye, Mike. How did he go, over?
Listen, Dave, everything's going just swimmingly. Beautiful.
Great. We're standing by for Eagle.
Okay, he's coming along.
We copy out. And Columbia, Houston, we expect to lose your high gain sometime during the power descent, over.
Sorry for the wait, I'm back. Oh, we're just about to make another round around the Earth. I do like the little ambient sounds you get when you zoom into the space stations.
Why you going? I don't think the high gain's going to push in there. We can get the dump.
Okay.
There we go. Alright, we can speed things up to the next cycle. Alright, we have an alien ship detected in transferring to low Earth orbit. Alright, we definitely want this. So like the first choice kind of helped figure out what your initial incomes would be. This advisory team helps boost your investments in different countries. So we're definitely going to want the steely-eyed women and men to help us with the boost investment.
Mission aborted.
Really? Where did I even tell you to... Oh, you do... Wait a minute. Aborted? Did we lose... Did someone take all of Japan in one go?
Things up.
Why was your mission aborted? Oh, wait, no, it was... Oh, the Academy got... Oh, okay. Yeah, see, that's problematic. It's not a deal breaker. So, the big problem right now... So we've lost control of Russia. We can fight to take it over, but that's a long, drawn-out process. And in the meantime, the boost that's coming out of Kazakhstan is being shared with the Eurasian Union. So what I might do now is, now that Russia would be closed to us without a big fight for it, I'll probably go ahead and just cut Kazakhstan out of the Eurasian Union and work on trying to get control of China.
Our presence is growing.
Okay, we've got Kazakhstan, so we can go ahead and start that process now. When can we take it out of the Federation? That I'm not sure about. Yeah, I don't want to wait until then. So when this comes up, if we had full control of Russia and Kazakhstan, we could merge them together.
Our people in place.
Okay, sweet. We got a CP in Japan. That helps out a lot. It kind of hurts us. Every country we take over that China rivals makes it harder to take China over. But problem is, China has a lot of enemies, and some of them are just kind of good nations to take over. What about an Aussie start? An Aussie start. So an Aussie start would be good. So if you're able to take over Australia, you do have it. It's relatively well developed, so it's not like, you know, North Korea, where you have an 81% chance to take it over at start without any extra investment. But if you were able to take over Australia, you could kind of leapfrog into Indonesia, which is richer and right on the equator. So any money you put into boost would be at its most efficient. So I don't think you'd be at a bad start if you went with Australia. I just, you know, that's not where my mind was at. Although my initiative playthrough, I actually only have 3 countries: United States, India, and Indonesia. And I kind of split it up with like military investment and research in America, economic development in India, and boost income in Indonesia. Alright, so we got control of Kazakhstan.
Acknowledged.
I'm going to go ahead and tell Yui to set national policy to see if I can't have it leave the Eurasian Union. This might be too early, but I'm going to go ahead and try, because I need to free it from that federation if I can't control Russia.
Time to make our move.
I'm here.
Meanwhile, you go down to Pakistan and see if you can't take it over. Because we've got some good influence there. It has nukes. It's relatively rich, though it's hella unstable. Jeez. I think, yeah.
Bringing them on board.
Maybe I'll go in. So,
Boarding in.
Here's the thing. There are two big powers over here, if you can take a guess at what they are. China being pretty much, I would say, at least economically, parity with America. In fact, it's actually the richest in the game because it uses not full GDP, but purchasing power. So it has a higher GDP than America does at the start of the game, meaning it actually, of all the countries, has the most investment points to spend. But it's the hardest country in the game to take over. India, on the other hand, slightly easier, but it is poorer. However, I think it was best phrased by someone who, by Perrin, who does Ukraine videos and also Terra Invicta gaming. He's called India a canvas, and I tend to agree, because with its high population, with its high economy, if you're able to invest well enough and keep the unrest down, you can turn India into a lot of things. Essentially, India has a lot of potential, and it still starts the game relatively rich. So while it doesn't really have much of a space program, like it does have, some mentioned control and some boost down here, it's just not a lot. You can turn this into something, and it does have a lot of research at the start. Plus, Indian dudes are hot as fuck. No comment. I'm just trying to politic here. Don't give me gay thoughts. Alright, Vamp Planet, you lucked out with that 10%. I think I'm gonna keep you here. Go ahead and... Yeah, let's see what 16 can give us. Since I'm not getting Russia, I'm ditching Belarus. It's not worth it. If I could add Belarus to a larger Eurasian Union, then it's something, but if I can't get Russia, then it's not. It's too poor. It doesn't give me anything worthwhile. It's gone. So the thing about... Sorry, lost my train of thought. You made me think about Indian dudes. If either you're over your cap, you don't like the country you're in, or some other reason, you can choose to abandon the country, which means you don't immediately lose the control point, but you lose all of the benefits of having it. It no longer counts against my control cap. I'm no longer getting anything from the nation, and also it puts my control point into crackdown, meaning it's very easy for any faction to stroll in and just take it from me if they wanted it. If no one grabs it, it actually comes back under my control, and then I'll just abandon it again because I don't want Belarus. But that's how you kind of manage your control cap, is you end up getting a bit too eyes too big for your stomach sort of deal. Alright, so moving on.
The trick is not to look directly.
I wish I could have gotten Grant into this. It just felt like the timing was off.
Somewhere to the side of where you think you noticed the movement.
I did like enjoying kind of introducing Grant to several other strategy games.
I won't try to explain the science to you. What matters is you'll see whatever is out there before they see you. Colonel Hans Castillo, advising conscripts in Colombia.
So, I already read out the nice little flavor text for this back in the demo. Go back and watch the demo. You can see me do stuff as the Resistance. And see how much the game has changed, honestly. Like, one of the biggest changes is the AI has gotten a lot better at snagging important countries. Back in the demo, I grabbed most of Europe, Russia, got a foothold in India, dabbled in America if I felt like it, all by 2024, and the AI had mainly focused on grabbing South America and Africa. Which, not useless, but just took up a lot of their time to invest in. So the AI has gotten much better. Like, the Academy has taken Russia from me, and there's already people grabbing France. So the strategies I used in the demo are already kind of invalid. But anyway, so this is, deep. You have the initial Skywatch tech lets you see out to Saturn, so anything that gets close to Jupiter or the asteroid belt can now be seen by us. And I developed the most research. So there are two big choices for me here. For those who remember seeing me play the demo, there is a benefit to doing Deep System Skywatch, which lets you see everything in the solar system. If the aliens have a space station, if they have a base, it's here. We'll be able to see it. And if I invest down this road, it weakens the Academy, because then we can find out, oh, this isn't just one visitor, it's an invasion, which justifies what the Ark Society believes in, fucking off, and also weakens the Academy. But at the same time, if I go down this advanced chemical rocketry tech, or rather encourage the world to invest research into it, it does give us the initial projects to increase our boost investment. So I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and hope Humanity First maybe takes control of another tech and goes down that route. I'm going to go ahead and start up our boost investment, especially since we don't have a big powerhouse here. We just have to rely on Kazakhstan. So I'm going to do that. I'll keep our investment into that. The Academy will not do Deep System Skywatch. I'm pretty sure someone told the AI what happens when it researches Deep System Skywatch, so maybe the Protectorate will pick it up. I'm not too sure.
Order is returning.
It also, it does strengthen...
Mission complete.
Damn, okay. That's what I was afraid of. So I can't exit I can't exit the Eurasian Union yet. How do I, actually... I don't want... Okay, fail. So... And this is also new. Back in the demo, a lot of this select policy stuff was kind of feeling around in the dark. They did give you a few more tool tips to help understand what you could and couldn't do. I just forgot how to check it. So give me the 10 influence back. I can't do anything.
Prepping for the next mission.
So let's see. Leave Federation. Fail. Russia must not lead nation in Federation. So I can't leave the Federation because Russia's in control? Okay. So, all right. They added this in the early access. I have to control the executive for about half a year before I can take it out of the Federation. So the clock started when I took over this final control point. But for a while, the Academy's going to be borrowing my boost, and I'm pissed.
Our supporters are in place.
Alright, we've got a foothold in Pakistan.
We failed to take control.
Which tank symbol, Ethel? Do you mean one of the ones on the map or the ones over here? Ooh, okay, we can give Yui here the Mafia. Oh, but we only get it because we have that control point in Russia. I was actually wondering if I wanted to keep that. This might be better. So it's money, ops income, and security, plus extra to our spoils. Or... You know what? Go ahead and take that. Don't let the Mafia slide. Buy the dove. So here's the peace symbol. I'm not seeing a tank symbol unless you're talking about Miltech. Oh, this one. Is this the one you were talking about? This is nukes. This is how many nukes you have. Kazakhstan has 0. Russia has 30. And because it's not individual nuclear weapons, it's barrages. Oh, okay. That is handy. Well, I mean, this is, they have the dove, so we're at peace, but then is this the one you're talking about? Neat. I'll keep that in mind.
Standing by for
orders.
orders.
Let's see. I still want Japan. I feel like if I can't get Russia, I should pivot over to this area, this space. So let's see.
Ready for orders.
You defend. Oh, that would take all of my influence though to defend that. Cringe in space. You have a question. I might have an answer.
Ready for orders.
Okay, you
Reporting in.
You have slightly better odds, but not much.
Taking control.
Change places. You go to
I'm
Pakistan,
here.
where our odds are better.
We'll be running this place in no time.
All right, and you.
Where to?
Maybe also do Pakistan. You can't do Pakistan because it's the rival of Japan. Actually, wait. Why can't you do Pakistan? Oh, because of the unrest. That is pretty high unrest. That's going to be a black mark in trying to get control of it. Maybe do Japan? No, you're not that good at Japan. If I can't get... Yeah, same problem. Go ahead and abandon Georgia, too. Oh, yeah, Singapore. I want to try to take Singapore. Go ahead and do that. Or... yeah, Singapore.
We'll be running this place in no time.
1 in 3 odds. Not terrible, not great. Wouldn't shoot a gun in XCOM on those odds, or at least I wouldn't after playing that game. What would the game's AI do if you unified North America with the US?
The Surat al-Baqarah teaches that in the creation of heaven and earth, a wise people may find the signs of Allah. Let us heed those words and join together as we take our search into the stars. Director Khalid al-Ashgar, from his khutbah at the first conclave of Muslim astrophysicists.
I also like this, by the way. You know, kind of like, it's a lot like Alpha Centauri, where you get to learn more about the... Oh, for other people, they're leaders, but for me, it's my kind of subordinate. What would the game's I do if you unify North America with the US? So, I'm actually pretty close to that in my initiative game, if you will indulge me slowing down the clock. So, at the moment, you can only unify countries that have kind of shared claims. So for the moment, that would be, you know, Russia against a lot of the former Soviet states, and the EU countries all sharing the EU flag, which kind of helps. It helps them both unify, and if France gets very angry, it could try and conquer them. You can only unify the USA with Canada if you research a technology that's a bit into the mid-game. And what that lets you do
is abating.
Is you can either do what the people who play the EU the people who play as the EU can do. Okay, that's about what I figured. Yeah, I'm about to lose Russia. And kind of ally with Canada, then federate with Canada, and then finally unify with Canada. And that would take a couple of in-game years, because every time you positively increase your relationship, there's a counter that sets off. Or you can just conquer it. How would the AI react? Well, it depends on what factions were in control of Canada when you took it over. If you had always had control of Canada and you just unified, I don't think the AI would change its kind of tack on you, because there is Yeah, there is kind of a diplomacy thing here. It's very light. I can trade with the other factions if I can find their people. But then you have this which tracks how they treat you. For example,
We were unable to establish control.
Really? 73% and you whiffed it? That's twice now, Vamp Planet. I'm disappointed. Oh great. More alien ships in orbit. So, currently you have...
We still lack support.
You too? Okay, you had longer odds, but I'm mad. Also mad with you people interrupting me. So you have the different levels of support here. We as the Ark Society are tolerated by everybody but the Academy because we've been fighting with the Academy to take control of Russia. So for the most part, they shouldn't actively try to harm our positions. They won't try and claim our points unless they decide they suddenly want to be in conflict. There's also war, which hasn't happened yet because we're just trying to figure each other out right now. So war is the AI actively seeks to weaken your position. They will sabotage your your boost facilities. They'll blow up your mission control. They'll try to take your CPs. They'll otherwise try to make running your stuff on Earth utter hell. Nobody's at that stage yet because we've just started the game. And then of course you have support, which I really only think the servants do because they're just simping for the aliens. You can get non-aggression pacts with different factions, which is a mutual agreement not to fuck with each other, and that you get that through trading with them. So to answer your question, if there was a situation where I had to take Canada from someone else, those factions would hate me more. They might try to weaken my position of this unified North America. If I already had control of Canada and just unified it with the United States diplomatically, they wouldn't change their stance. Alright, speed things up again.
We were unable to establish control.
You all fucked up, and this one was actually close. Disappointing. And an alien crashes down in China. Not good. Alright. Try again. This time, oh jeez, yeah, 8.
Bringing them on board.
Standing by.
And Humanity First took one of the control points. That's gonna suck.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Ready for my mission. Bringing them to our side.
Alright, what's the unrest in Israel looking like? Okay, it's lower. It's not great, but it's lower.
Ready.
I want you to go ahead and take a look at what happened over here.
Setting a watch.
Because I feel like if we get this fast enough, we might see someone leave.
The dreamer in me wants to believe it would bring a golden age of advancement and prosperity for all mankind. But I'm a realist. I know better. Any race advanced enough to find us would be advanced enough to end us, likely without even regarding us. Commander Fiona Ayawade, NATO Symposium on First Contact.
Isn't she a bucket of cheer?
Initiating recon.
Okay, yeah, see? So now you've seen this twice now. Every time an alien ship crashes, it leaves behind life forms. So the thing is, these have stages. If you leave them alone, they will spread, and they will turn into nasties. Which is why I left this one alone, just so I could show you guys what happens if you leave something alone. Oh, Vampire, thank you for the 1,000 bits. That slightly makes up for you failing to take over Japan and Pakistan.
Prepping for mission.
Because I made the first guy after you. We can work on renaming and redoing his face later if you feel like it. Yeah, no, they got full control of Russia. That's about what I figured.
Our presence is growing.
Okay, so we've locked down Pakistan.
We failed to take control.
Still having trouble with Singapore.
We failed to take control.
Magnesium, thank you for the 64-month resub. Alright, now to see how hard the Academy goes in using those armies. Alright, you.
Where to?
Go ahead and research that.
We'll see what we can find.
You.
Ready.
I'm not sure how much I want to have you bash your head up against this. I just really want it. Where are the countries? We could do... the problem if we take over Vietnam, it's one other country that rivals China. Actually, yeah, hold on. If I sent...
Where do you need me?
You to China right now, how bad would it be? And it's only 0.3, but it would increase if I took Vietnam. So don't take Vietnam, don't take Taiwan. We can't take Taiwan. The Protectorate already grabbed it. Yeah, just keep focusing on Japan.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
Okay.
Ready to go.
1% odds. Taking India. Maybe I should try another country. Saudi Arabia would be good for money, which would be helpful. Egypt has an army, and it's rich. Saudi Arabia's richer. Yeah, no, it would be Saudi Arabia if I wanted the money. They don't have much else. I don't want to repeat strategies I've already tested in other games, but Indonesia's kind of tempting. It's got an okay economy, at least compared to the other countries I've been grabbing. It's on the equator, so if I can get this spaceflight program running, it'd be good for boost. But I'm thinking, yeah, you know what? You do Singapore. Because you can grab without me burning as much CP.
Establishing our presence.
You?
Ready for my mission.
Yeah, definitely don't do that. That'll be a waste. Can't do Pakistan. Bangladesh, which doesn't have rivals. Maybe Myanmar, which would border China. Sure.
Taking control.
If I take over Myanmar, it's going to be one of the countries I might just leave at. I actually might just leave it at this. Something I don't intend to have a very long stay at. A cat named Garbage. Thank you for the 13-month resub. The only solution is to eat the entire population of New Zealand. Alright, so this is good. So this is a tech you kind of want to prioritize when it becomes available, because it lets you grab a 5th counselor. And a 5th counselor is not only just another meeple to do stuff on the board with, but their persuasion, command, and administration combined help build out your control cap. So I'm actually going to change gears from Flora to clandestine cells and max my priority. I'll still leave a toe in advanced chemical rocketry, but this isn't going to get done for a while.
We've found something.
You did?
Our supporters are in place.
Thank you, Vamp Planet.
We've gained significant support.
Okay, good job, Huey.
We were unable to establish control.
Damn it! Marlon!
Ready for my mission.
Try again. Actually, you know what? 27%. Spend some time just trying to persuade them. If we increase our influence, that'll make it a bit easier to take it over.
I will tell our story.
Where do you need me?
You finish capping Singapore.
Establishing control.
So Singapore is going to be
I'm
interesting.
here.
It has a good economy. If you want to, you could go kind of full spoils and just pump money out of it. I think I'm actually going to use it as a boost hub, because it does have some good investment for its size, and it's actually pretty much on the equator. So just imagine one of the islands out there being turned into a giant spaceport, like Night City, but hopefully not as dystopian. You... I don't like that there, but I also don't want you to spend your... Yeah, no, not 50-50. Did they already defend that point? They didn't. See if you can't weaken their 5%. Yeah, forget that. Go to Pakistan. Try to get that unrest down. Or has this gone back up since you've been gone? No. Okay. Then yeah, focus on that.
Restoring order.
You...
At your service.
Yeah, go ahead and finish capping that.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
Actually, we do have a little bit of boost. It's kind of a waste right now, but I might build up our Tiangong station. Oh, I guess not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get that. Oh, but it's in low Earth orbit. That doesn't help. I just need more boost.
We've moved the needle.
Okay, we've got our foothold in Japan is growing. That's good. No, it's no. I mean it's growing. We just don't have another CP to show for it yet.
We were unable to increase security.
Okay, well you keep trying. Actually, put you on permanent
significant
assignment.
support.
All right, we got Singapore.
To establish control.
Fucked up Myanmar. All right, hold on. Back to this. Cut down on funding. Put that back into economy. Cohesion's pretty high. This is going up. No point in investing in military. You don't have one. Yeah, you know what? I'll leave that as is. So, Singapore might take a while to show dividends, but I like where this is going. Alright, so I don't want to take over Vietnam.
Where do you need me?
Standing by for orders.
Ready.
Slightly growing, ever so slightly. I have a feeling, though, this is going to grow when I take over Japan. One more round of public campaigning.
I will try to sway the public.
Where to?
Do you have any orgs worth getting? Oh, okay, no, this is good. Maybe not for you. Maybe for you. Maybe both of these for you if I can afford it. I actually can. Yeah, go ahead. We'll put these on. I'm not following my own rule here. These aren't the best for a persuasion-focused counselor, but I wanted to grab this because it gives me an extra research slot. I won't put anything in right now because I really want to speed this up, and I don't want to divvy up my research, but now I can research 2 things at once! Alright, you... What are the odds if you went to Indonesia? Ah, Academy! It's not the right stuff at the low price. Yeah, go ahead and finish taking over Pakistan.
Taking control.
Oh, yeah, hold on. I do not
Ready to go.
I don't want Pakistan doing a spaceflight program. Or maybe I do. Do I? What do I want Pakistan for? I mainly wanted it for the kind of abutting of the different countries. But I do want it to focus on something. Let's see here. Not much knowledge, so I'm not going to really pump it for research. Its economy is okay. I think I'm actually going to spoil it a bit. Yeah, drop. I'm going to drop it down low. Yeah, like that. Maybe. Do I... The knowledge is not going to be worth it. It does have an army, so putting points into military wouldn't actually go amiss. Sure. That's maybe spreading it a bit too thin, but we'll see what happens if I leave it like that for a little bit. Alright, anyway, back to you. What would playing as the Cooperate faction be like? Cringe? I don't know. I have not played as the Academy yet. If you pick their faction at game start, you are explicitly told they have the hardest they have the hardest difficulty. Kind of opposite of the servants who have the easiest difficulty because they get to simp for the more powerful faction we're fighting. But I do not know how they play. You could try them out for yourself. The problem is, if you do that and fail, it can hurt my rep. Yeah, you know what? If I have the 20 influence to spend, I'll spend it defending some interests. Go ahead and defend Kazakhstan.
Making things safe for our people.
So defend interest essentially adds a +10 modifier to any attempt to subvert my control points. So it's a nice thing. If you have the influence to afford it, it's pretty expensive at the game, near the start of the game, but it's a good way to make sure your control points aren't stolen like the one in Russia was.
Securing our control.
Don't the servants actually benefit from wrecking the planet? I'm not entirely sure. They worship the aliens, but I don't think they're a suicide cult. So I don't think they want the Earth to go to butt. They just would rather the aliens took over. But, as one of the extreme factions, they will nuke you if you force them to. I.e., try to take over one of the countries they're in control over.
Public opinion is moving in our direction.
Okay, 29%. That's pretty good. One more time. One more time. You want taking over Japan. I couldn't keep up with the tune.
Things are stabilizing.
Alright, so yeah, the Academy is definitely gunning for a larger Russia.
We've got our people in place.
Perhaps they'll make it a gentler Russia. Stop telling me about our support in Uruguay. I don't care. Let's take a look at Uruguay, shall we? Paraguay, sorry, wrong one. There we go. Let's see. Dirt poor. Not as much unrest as I thought. 4 investment points, no research, no spaceflight program, far from the equator. Brazil would definitely be a better target, but it's already under control. It's split between 3 factions. Whoa, what fun. Yeah, no, disaster.
Reporting in.
Okay, you go stabilize Israel.
We'll make things safe.
You...
Your orders?
You can't do much right now, can you? And could take over the Philippines. Not too bad, but definitely would need some work. Slightly, it would have the same kind of benefit Indonesia does. It's just poorer, relatively speaking. But Indonesia's about to be split 4 ways, so why not? And wait, are you enemies of China? Damn it, you are. Just gonna make the China game harder. I thought I already had full control of Myanmar. Okay, nope. Well, go do that again.
Putting our people in place.
I will say...
Things are cooling off.
I don't want to keep you there forever, but I can't stomach that kind of unrest. Ooh, anti-satellite test. India's anti-satellite test was carried out despite official protests from Pakistan. An obsolete satellite was targeted and successfully destroyed, scouring debris all... Oh, so this is fun. So not only does this have, like, Earth-side consequences, but for all of the lovely...
Public sentiment is increasingly with us.
Oh, that's pretty good. Nice job. So this game, on top of everything else it tracks with the Earth, it tracks the kind of debris that's in certain orbits. Because you can only put your space stations in certain Earth orbits. You know, our Tiangong has its own special orbit, and it looks like the debris in there. And what the debris cloud does is that the more of them there are, the more likely you are to have to deal with an event that damages your space station. Fortunately for us, since we only have the central hab, we're kind of immune to it. The ISS is actually in more danger because it actually has modules that can be destroyed. The platform core can't be. You can only really get rid of a space station once it's up there by blowing it up, which counts as an atrocity if you're a human faction doing it to another human faction. Speaking of atrocities, let's take a look at that screen. Alright, fortunately none of that's happened yet. So atrocities are essentially permanent negative qualities to your public opinion. If your faction has either done something monstrous or has been in control of a country that does something monstrous, academy, then you get an atrocity. Nuking counts as an atrocity. Blowing up a hab counts as an atrocity. So, you might ask, how do you take over habs then, or rather get rid of them? You would have to invade them using either Marines, convert them using your counselors like we do for countries, or hopefully the aliens blow them up. Kicking a cat. Atrocity. Yeah. Oh yeah, no. So like I said earlier on, global warming is also tracked. You get carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide in the atmosphere. You get stratospheric aerosols. So you can actually, this actually cools things down if you put them up there. Easiest way to do it at the start of the game is nuking something, which is bad for everything else, but does cool things down a bit. But yeah, so if you leave this as it is and let things continue unabated, then eventually this comes back to hurt your GDP, the global GDP. And if that tanks, then all your kind of Earth-side stuff starts to go down too. So we're going to commit all the atrocities then. Lord of Endgame, you missed the end of the demo then, where I actually started a nuclear war.
Things are cooling off.
So here, and you know, good thing this is in early access because
Our supporters are in place.
There are still stuff that kind of annoys me. Main thing, the UI as it stands is hard to read. I am leaning about 2 feet away from the screen, and I can tell my back is going to hurt after this, and my eyes are probably going to hurt because the stuff is just really small and doesn't scale. And then you have this. I hate this. This should go away. I like that I have these notifications that this stuff is happening all over the world and I don't have to deal with a window, but the fact that it just constantly builds into a list that runs off the bottom of the screen is annoying. Because the only way to get rid of it is to right-click or let it roll out. I hate it. This should honestly be a lot like this. Like the Crusader Kings menu, where you have like just like a little box over here where it scrolls down. Dear God, do not try and give Myanmar a space program. We'd be waiting here forever. Go away. Or actually, this is probably going to be one of the countries we spoil while we wait. Alright, so, Thailand isn't a bad option. I mean, the problem is we'll be splitting it with the initiative. Plus, it doesn't border China, so it would be hurting that overall goal. I hate that the resistance grabbed these two countries. I think they might be trying to influence China too. Go ahead and go for the Philippines, or yeah, we'll just come back to you. I know what you're going to do. Take over Japan. 69. We'll go for higher odds.
Putting our people in place.
Ready for orders.
Standing by for orders.
reporting in.
I'm not sure where to put you. Let's do Thailand. I don't think it's the best choice, but... No, do Philippines. Tired of hedging all my bets around the long game that is China.
Bringing them to our side.
Might as well build a small little coalition of countries if I can't get the big ones. Though, then again, no one's tried to claim Mexico or Canada, so I could just abandon all this and try to pivot over to the United States. Wouldn't be the first time that happened. Terra, welcome. To steal all the art. Oh, I mean, I've already been having bad rolls. The game must have known you were coming.
Our only hope is to understand what the aliens want with us and determine how to satisfy them without losing our independence.
Yes. So while the servants are welcome, new overlords, the protectorate's like, welcome, new overlords, but we don't feel good about it. The leaders of this organization are an alliance of officials who believe the clandestine nature of the aliens' arrival marks them as a threat, but if they have concluded that any species that can cross interstellar distances is nothing that humanity is capable of opposing. So they're the French. Even though I already made the joke of the French being alien worshippers, these are the French stereotype of, we surrender. Oh dear, speaking of, it looks like the extreme cult got nukes from France. At least the Resistance got, the UK. This will be great for EU relationships.
Violence is abating.
Oh, then again, Brexit already happened, so never mind. Punitive sanctions. I mean, I don't know how much I want to harm India, since I may end up being, like, that may be the foundation of my organization for a while. So, I may actually just shake the finger. How dare you?
We've got our people in place.
Okay, we lost Georgia, figured.
Mission is a no-go.
Oh, who took... Really? Yeah, you see, this is what I meant by the AI. There's a rush for some of these places. So now they have to share. And I can't grab it, that CP. Alright, so how about you go over here. Give yourself... Yeah.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Ready for your orders.
Okay, let's see if we can't cap off control of Japan.
Bringing them on board.
Meanwhile,
What's the up?
Yeah, you need to stay there. And you need to stay there. Yeah. Well, I mean, Myanmar wasn't meant to be something I'd keep. Sometimes the game is kind of absurd with the decimal places. Yeah, no, just leave it. Once I solidify my position in Japan, I'll pivot over to India. Even though that'll just make China matter.
We believe we can join them as brothers and sisters, if we only convince them we are worthy.
Oh, I think that makes it for the last faction. Led by the members of Earth's scientific community, this faction has concluded that any species able to cross the stars must have moved beyond violence as a mechanism to resolve conflict. They assert that humanity must work to build a bridge to ensure the aliens treat us as equals. I'm the bridge. We need the Avatar!
Violence is abating.
Order is returning.
Okay, that's good. So, when they say that, that lets you know that they're succeeding in their missions without, putting a window in my face and saying, look how proud we are!
Our presence is growing.
Alright, so now we control Japan. We just have to kick this little bit of humanity first out.
Mission cancelled.
Oh, yeah. You failed because he did it. Alright, you keep working on that.
At your service.
You... What are the odds if I sent you to India? 0. Then how about you spend what little influence we have making sure we don't lose Japan?
Protecting our interest.
Meanwhile...
At your service.
I don't want to sacrifice economic development. Go ahead and get rid of spoils. I don't want them. Spend that in the economy. Drop funding. By a lot, actually. I'm not sure how much I want Japan to be my bedrock of space development, but I think for now I'm going to leave that as is, except for investing more in the economy. And yeah, we'll do that. Humanity First is kind of fucking with me here because they still have control of these priorities. But I think that'll be okay. Alright, now that we've done that, you go to India. And maybe try convincing them with money. Oh geez, even that's 35%. And that's half my stockpile. But so is that. I guess I could do Bangladesh, because that's a neighboring country that isn't. Yeah, that would count towards this. So yeah, you know what? Do it.
We'll be running this place in no time.
Did Belarus bounce back? No, the Academy has it. I'm slightly over my cap, which means I'm gonna start making less influence, and all of my control points are a bit more vulnerable to attack. I probably would ditch Singapore, but I'd rather... we have North Korea here that no one seems interested in. Huh. I mean, if I ditch it, how much would I get back? 3 points. I'm just going to leave myself over the cap until I can start getting a foothold somewhere in India.
Securing our control.
Oh, what's this? The Laguna Foundation. Stabilize nation, public campaign, turn counselor. Ooh, a lot of good influence income, some research, some persuasion. I know who to give this to. You. Oh, this would be pretty good for you, too. I did want Iron Rose Media, but I was a bit too crazy there. Oh, actually, no, they got some experience, so I could... who should I give this to if I can invest in administration? Well, first off, she has the space. Why can't I give it to her? Insufficient resources. We have... Oh, you haven't calculated that yet, have you? There it goes.
Order is returning.
Our efforts didn't have any effect.
We are taking over.
Yeah, go ahead and do that again.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
I'm here.
Yeah, you know what? 5% purge. You go, Yui.
We're taking power.
Take control of Japan. And while that's going on, I'll level you guys up a bit. So my default is usually to buff their administration because then I can start kitting them out more. I do think I'll at least go for that for him, because I definitely need to get him high enough to grab Iron Rose Media. Can anyone equip it right now? Still don't have the money yet. And plus, administration is also something that would buff our cap, so if I can get that back to 159. Ooh, wait, actually, you can get a few interesting things here. Opinion leader. Minus you lose espionage, but you gain persuasion. Eminent. More influence income, but you lose espionage. More persuasion and high cohesion. That would help us take Japan ever so slightly. But then there's also +2 persuasion when democracy is at least 6. Japan, definitely not. India, that would be better. So actually, Vamp
Mission
Planet,
in progress.
I'll go ahead and make you an opinion leader. But then we should be able to grab this. Oh, we can, just not for you. I'm gonna give it to you, mainly to actually hold on to it, make sure no one else grabs it.
Things are stabilizing.
Violence is abating.
Agents for the Ark Society have positively identified a counselor for the resistance in the Algiers region of Algeria. Well, I don't feel like messing with them right now.
Our presence is growing.
Okay.
Our associates were unable to take control.
Yeah, I figured. The new normal. The initial global upheaval in response to the alien arrival has calmed somewhat, with various political and economic interests recognizing that whatever the aliens are doing, the end of the world is not immediately upon us. With the sense of emergency fading, entrenched power structures are reasserting their authority, and humans are spending more time worrying about each other than about the aliens. In short, our moment to strike quickly is passing. Our counselors report that their missions are taking longer to plan and conduct, and they must navigate the old protocols for travel security and international contacts. TSA! We can still move forward, and some of our missions will have a greater impact as we spend more time on them, but everything will take longer to accomplish now. So instead of every week we get one of these phases, it's every 2 weeks. Or twice a month. Alright, stop trying to stabilize Israel. I'm sending you to India.
We'll bring this nation to our side.
What's the up?
Your orders? Taking control.
Long odds.
Ready.
Actually, what
Ready to go.
What hope do you have of cracking down on this? No, actually not too bad.
Turning up the heat.
Standing by for orders.
Alright, 1-2 punch. If that crackdown works, then the odds of this will shoot up.
Removing our enemies.
In the meantime, I don't want to abandon any of the countries bordering India, because that would harm my chances of success. Unless I actually ditch Pakistan, then I would improve it. Maybe I'll ditch Pakistan. It's not a bad country to have, it's just while I'm taking over India, it's problematic. Let's see, what countries do I have? North Korea wouldn't actually get me under my cap anyway. Mongolia was for China, which isn't happening right now, but it's only... Yeah, so then it and North Korea would still not get me below the cap. It's pretty much Pakistan or... yeah, Bangladesh. I think I might just still... yeah, I'm still making 77 a month, so I think I'll stomach it. Meanwhile, you do not focus on a spaceflight program for Bangladesh. Or funding. We'll crank up the spoils, but still keep the economy going. In fact, I'll boost that a bit. And leave it at that. Alright. Another alien ship arrives, and I can do nothing about it. And immediately crashes in China again. So this is not a good sign. Every time an alien ship crashes, not only is it leaving some of that xenoform stuff, it could also be dropping off an alien. And at the moment, I suck at detecting what shit they're up to. So if there are aliens wandering around China, that means it's going to be a lot easier for the servants to take it over. And a servant-controlled China? Well, I mean, do you want an alien cult ruling in a country? Because this is how you get an alien cult ruling a country. And of all the countries, China would be a bad one for them to take over. It might actually justify me nuking them with North Korea.
Targets got away.
That's what I was afraid of. Yep, they defended their interests, didn't they? Yep, that makes it a lot harder. Several people have been reported missing after failing to return from a local forest in the Yingan region. Rumors are reportedly already spreading through the forests of Yangon are haunted. Well, dispatch expeditions to find the cause. Our search parties failed to turn up anything useful. Nonetheless, being seen to do something has reassured the population.
We've got our people in place.
Alright, alright, alright. We've got a foothold in India.
We still lack support.
We've got a foothold in India.
Our enemies are still in control.
Yeah, that was bound to happen without that crackdown. Alright, so with that going on, that means we found our power base. That's going to be India. Maybe China further into the game, but it's going to be India. So, let's see. What can we do right now?
Your orders?
I want you to come down here and find out what's going on near this crash site.
On Overwatch.
Ready for my mission.
Ooh, well, I mean, the 10 income is not nothing, but it really only boosts your security. Sure. Yeah, I don't want to waste influence on trying to do that. I could still do Saudi Arabia, but with going all in on India, I mean, oh, you know what? Yeah, Sri Lanka. You're not enemies with India. So this will help get control of India.
Putting our people in place.
Where to?
You... Ooh, wow, that's still taking a while. How about...
Ready for orders.
One of you should do public campaigning while the other one still tries to get the control points. I'm just wondering which one would be best.
What's the op?
Well, you both have 8 effectively for this country, so how about Vamp Planet you try to get control? And I'll splurge.
Bringing them on board.
Standing by.
You do that.
We'll make our appeal.
Alright. Let's do the time.
Mum's last years were a blur of doctors and treatments. By that point, every movement was painful. The one thing she loved was her aquatic therapy. Whenever I was home on leave, I'd take her to the pool for hours. Weightless. Smiling. Free. Commander Fiona Ayawade, during a psychological evaluation.
What happens if you go to war with a non-faction nation? Let me get to that in just a sec. Let's see. I already read this one. You just get a little more space equipment. Perfect.
Surveilling target area.
All right, slow that down so I have time to talk. So fighting a war against a nation, whether it belongs to a faction or not, is roughly the same. If a nation has an army, they will move it to either attack you or to defend themselves. And if they don't, then you still have to move an army into one of their regions and try to grind it down, because it does have just a natural resistance to occupation. Your army will take damage, and if it takes too much damage, you may have a situation where just the region's resistance is so high your army gets destroyed. And the amount of resistance they pose depends on a couple of factors. I believe it's their cohesion and the mil-tech level of the country. I mean, let the country fall apart. I'd rather not. Yeah, I don't want to spend ops on that. Just let it fall apart. Now, if the country has nukes, if they are threatened, they will nuke you. The factions may show restraint. You think the Academy of all people may not care if one of the countries under their umbrella falls, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of the AI's routines is, oh, are we going to risk losing a country? Nuke them. The Academy already has 30 nukes by virtue of having control of Russia. We will have, if we are able to take the executive CP of India, we'll have at least 2. We have 2 from Pakistan, 1 from North Korea, 1 from Israel. So we actually have the most nukes, second most nukes. I just said the Academy had 30. What the hell was I thinking? So yeah, warfare on Earth is modeled, but it's not exactly very in depth. You only have to worry about what value you have in your navies, which will determine if your armies can move off into the ocean and therefore have a lot more unrestricted movement, and your relative tech level to whoever you're fighting. For example, for Russia's attack on Ukraine, it has a mil-tech value of 3.7. Ukraine's is the same. And their cohesion is very high. So, surprise, surprise, the Russian army is having a lot of trouble occupying the Kharkiv region. And they keep having to move their armies off into friendly territory to repair. So, I don't know if the Academy is actually going to muster up the strength to take over Ukraine. Now, you can, with the 3 armies you get, if you take control of Russia, if you march all of them into Kharkiv, you can occupy it and then repair, and then move into the Kyiv region and take that over. And then once a country loses all of its regions, if you have a claim on its regions, you take it over. If you don't have a claim on its regions, then you replace the controlling faction. If no faction controls it, your faction gets all the CPs. If another faction had all the CPs, you take them over. So that's kind of one way to kick someone out if you can't subtly purge them. Just have a country invade it. And that's another reason why America's a good country to start out with their 6 armies. One of them is in South Korea. As long as they don't have to deal with a nuclear power, they can invade wherever they want, and they can kick out whoever they want. And plus, because their naval value is 27, the highest in the game at the moment, anyone they're fighting, even if their army does have the navy quality, this little anchor here, they won't be able to move their army into the water, because it considers that the superior naval power blockades them. Yeah, America, fuck yeah, very much. So, the only time you want to go fight America is if you at least have control of the executive CP and know they won't be using their nukes. And even then, you have a lot to chew through. Well, at least I can do this now, too. This helps better illustrate what faction controls what countries. If the country doesn't have a color filled in, it's still uncontrolled. Any country that's contested gets colored with whoever has the executive CP.
Our cause is unjustified to them.
Well, that's unfortunate. And that is fortunate. Alright, go back to doing alien flora. We'll dial that down. Put this... Yeah, we could use some extra... Oh, yeah, because we've... Yeah, no. Keep that up. Double this, too. Yeah. In fact, max this out. I don't want humanity first to have control of this. Because I don't know if I mentioned this. Whoever has devoted the most research points to completing a global tech gets to pick what the next tech to research is. I'm nothing on any of these, so when these techs complete, I'll be forced to just watch. Let's see here. What was I about to do before I started talking about the research? I lost train of thought. Oh yeah, I was gonna get another counselor, but I don't have the influence for it. Let's see, who would I want anyway? Assuming I could afford it. This diplomat's kind of okay. Relatively high persuasion, good administration, so I can put stuff onto him, but he has no resources, and he's transparent, which means that loyalty is what you get. And honestly, that's pretty low. If anyone tried to turn him, he would probably switch. Celebrity? Not really a lot here, aside from that high persuasion, though. Ooh, oh, okay, no, I like this guy. He's kind of middling across the board, but his persuasion's okay, and his administration is really high. You can kid out this guy pretty easily. And his hometown's in India, so as long as he doesn't have anything that makes him like a enemy of the state, he'll be better at doing stuff in his home country. So if I can get to that, if I can get 30 influence, I'll grab this guy. Actually, now I think about it, are any of you able to turn a counselor? Okay, yeah, you can. You can do a lot of stuff. I'm glad I didn't get rid of you. Even though that probably made the early game a bit harder. I'm seeing that we're hitting the 2-hour mark. I am not too tired, but I know that the early game for this is kind of a slow burn. So maybe I'll go ahead and... Shit. Well, I mean, it's Bangladesh. I wasn't thinking about keeping it, but it does hurt taking over India. Maybe in a little bit, I'll go ahead and switch gears to my initiative game, just so you guys can see what a kind of mid-game looks like once you kind of establish yourself on Earth. Ah, shit.
Failed to take control.
Yeah, now I have to fight the Academy for control. Maybe I do want to research Deep System Skywatch just so they lose this big public opinion boost. I spoiled it already, so I'll go ahead and go into full detail about it. The Academy has a very good start to the game. A lot of countries on Earth are like, oh, hey, they're aliens. Maybe we should kind of cooperate with them. So they get a big boost to public opinion, which makes it easier to take them over. It's only after you discover that they're hostile that this collapses, and then half of their control points get cracked down. So they turn into this, where you can easily take them over. So it's an interesting game where the Academy can almost grab whatever they want until you find out the aliens are hostile, and then you're effed up the A. All right.
What's the op?
Let's flip this. I think I need to work on my public opinion. I just have to make sure I don't bankrupt myself doing it.
Making our case.
Acknowledged.
You... What the hell is a protectorate? I'm probably investigating the crash.
We'll recon the site.
Standing by.
You keep focusing on Sri Lanka without burning too much influence to do it.
Bringing them on board.
Reporting in.
Ugh. If I wait, this is probably an Academy counselor trying to take over more CPs. I'd rather roll that dice and try and get that
establishing our presence.
hard 6. Or whatever number is good in craps. I've never played craps. Oh, and I just burned through all my influence, though. I was trying to save that to get the tech mogul. Shit. Of course, I'll remember that right after I hit confirm, which means the tech mogul is probably gone. Yep. No, wait, still here. Just up here now. And they already cracked down on our frickin' point in India. Jeez. The Academy's brutal.
Public opinion remains unmoved.
Ugh, and we're hurting our own public opinion with this shit. Yeah, hold on. I need to make sure I get this deep system skywatch just so everyone can realize just how evil the aliens are. Oh good, Mexico had a coup, turning all their old control points into new control points. If like a faction had controlled these, they would be wiped out by a coup.
In each of us, embers glow. Through meditation, prayer, and togetherness, these dim sparks will blossom into the roaring flames they were meant to be. Superior Judith Helm, Burn Brighter, Self-Improvement Course.
Now on sale!
Here's what we've found.
We're taking over.
We still lack support.
So, let me guess, another Academy CP pops up. Okay, good. Well, at least they're not doing that then. You.
Where do you need me?
Come back. Protect this point, so there's at least someone trying to stop
Defending
them from
the
purging
VIP.
it.
I'm here.
You. Like I said, I don't want to bankmark myself trying to do this, but I need India.
We must persuade the people.
Where do you need me?
I'm just going to full public
We'll
campaign.
make our appeal.
What's the op?
You. Ugh. Okay, well that's still going down, so go back to Pakistan.
We'll restore peace to this nation.
Alright, and I have 60 influence, so let's go ahead and get that last person. Okay, so here's the tech mogul I saw earlier, who I thought was looking okay, but let's see who else rolled in. Ooh, Ukrainian professor. With okay administration. Oh, good research. Not wowing me, but also not bad. Though, inspire will at least keep people loyal. Celebrity. So you would have 9 persuasion in India, which would be slightly helpful. And it's your hometown. My hometown boy. Or I could still go for this tech mogul and kit him out with a bunch of orcs. The problem is, I have to have the money to get orcs, and I may not. So that's the problem. Do I want to go with this celebrity and try to still get influence? Because he doesn't really have much else. Or do I want to go with the tech mogul and have somebody I can kit out when I have the resources? He also has pretty good science, too. I'm thinking the tech mogul will be a better long-term investment, but the celebrity would help me get India now. I want to go ahead and go with the tech mogul, which might be a short... I said he was better long-term, but this still may be a short-sighted choice. No. Actually, while we're here, go ahead and take that off. You put it on. Alright.
Standing by for orders.
Come here. %. Oh, actually, we did get a massive surge in influence, though. That's pretty good.
Establishing our presence.
Alright. Let's see how this round goes, and then I'll show you guys what what a mid-game thing looks like, so you can see what I can eventually develop this into. I'll come back to this. I wanted to have a longer form playthrough with Project Exodus, but I didn't want to keep you guys hanging for the longest time trying to figure out just what this game turns into.
On guard.
All right, yeah. See, this is the project I was looking forward to because it increases how much money we can put into boost, and makes it cheaper to send stuff into orbit. That's definitely gonna be something I prioritize later. Oh, terrorist bombings in Myanmar. yeah, let's go ahead and crack down on our opponents. I need the influence.
Things are stabilizing.
Alright, you just keep doing that for a while.
Our cause is unjustified to them.
Unfortunate.
We hold no sway in their minds.
Oh, and this is going to be like the Stellaris playthrough, where you guys have a lot of opportunity to name stuff. I just didn't...
We were unable to establish control.
And you made them hate us more. Or this may just be a borked run. Who knows? Alright, so... That's a rough look at what the early game looks like. Let's go ahead and call this a... F... This... We... Out. There we go. And now... I'll show you guys what my initiative game looks like, so you can get an idea of... Ooh, hello! That's a new loading screen. Oh, Protoss 103, thank you for the 16-month resub. I understand what is going on as well as I understand Stellaris. So not at all, or a lot? I hope I at least explained how Stellaris worked. I tried. Oh my god, did I try? Huh. Apparently Streamlabs OBS does not like the loading screen for this, because I didn't even touch anything this time and it still went back to a black screen. The game hasn't crashed. At least, I don't know if it has. It's still on the loading screen. There we go. Now, as I put this one in the oven, let's look at one I prepared earlier. I mean, you're not wrong. That wasn't my intention. I just, like I said, when I put out the Twitter poll, I essentially put it between the Resistance, the Initiative, Project Exodus, and the Servants. And 52% essentially went in favor of Project Exodus. They didn't know what they were really voting for. But I was still interested in seeing what the Initiative game looked like, so that's what I started on my own. Alright, so, woof, yeah, no, see, I still only have 5 counselors. I maybe could have 6 if I prioritize research differently, but this is, so this is the full solar system, meaning there are more objects in play, including more Lagrange points. Humanity has gotten out to the asteroid belt. All of these little icons next to these names and rocks are stations and bases other factions have built. The aliens, which start out in the Kuiper Belt, which we would have found out if I had done deep system Skywatch, but I didn't. But they have kind of eked their way all the way into the asteroid belt as well. So not much conflict has broken out, because most of the factions are still trying to build fleets. But if I zoom in on Earth, yeah, hold on. Yeah, see, it gets chunky. You'll see that pretty much all of the lower Earth orbits have become filled with space stations. And these little names under them mean that there are fleets here. Now, there may be a bug in the game, because, well, it's early access, surprise, surprise, because you're supposed to be able to zoom in and see ships. But as you can see here, while this little menu is telling you that there's at least 4 ships in this Romeo 10 fleet, if I zoom in... Yeah, you can even hear them, for some reason. Nothing's here. So, yeah, that's unfortunate. But, yeah, you can definitely see how much you can industrialize just the space around Earth. I've got some space stations around here, too. The moon's been fully colonized. And even I have a space station out here. This is the level 2 space station, by the way. Spoilers. I think there are about 200 people in there. And so what I'm doing right now in this game is I'm sending a lot of stuff inwards towards the sun, because solar, you can use solar collectors to collect more power the closer you are to the sun, and that makes Mercury and Venus great places to set up a base where you only have to put in like one solar array to power the base, and everything else you can hook up without needing to worry about power. Cringe. Sorry, I don't know if you missed this. This is me revealing a later save from a different game just to show what the game can turn into. It's not the same game. I didn't suddenly just explode all over the inner solar system. Where are you sourcing water from? So, when you go to different sites on solid terrestrial planets or asteroids, you have... I clicked on a Lagrange point. Silly me. You do have sites, and if you go there and set up a colony, you can set up a mine, and the mine produces these different resources. I have set up several bases on Ceres, an actual well-known ice ball in the asteroid belt, and that's where I'm getting a good portion of my water income. And you really need it. Water is one of the resources you really want, because most of the engines in the early and mid-game require water as fuel, quote-unquote. And I don't want to reveal too much, because I don't want to spoil what the initiative's up to. It's just that they're doing some interesting stuff. But yeah, so I don't even have the techs that let me go to Jupiter or Saturn or the outer planets yet. This is my play space, but you can go all the way out to the Kuiper Belt, which is actually where the aliens set up shop. This was the first place we found them, Vorkus. Yeah, and they've got a nice little foothold over here. And that's your look at Terra Invicta. Like I said, I'll be back with more Project Exodus later, but I just wanted to give you guys a little tease as to what can go on if you let the game run for a while. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Alright. Now, I'm wondering if before I go, I let you guys take a nice look at space combat, because now I could put in a few more ships, and I'm thinking yes. So the Sandman, Mars is a pretty good foothold. The first place you can get to easily is the Moon, and that's the one that kind of doesn't have much to offer. If you're lucky, there are a couple of sites with good resource deposits, but you definitely don't want to try and fill up the Moon with bases to try and block factions out. You'll be spending more than you'll be making. But let me go ahead and show you guys a skirmish. We'll just make this a... Let's make this a... 8-on-8 fight. But let's make it interesting. I wish I could just hit random and a bunch of stuff shows up. Let's say, yeah, it's around Earth. They're fighting by Archon... Nah, let's make it the International Space Station. And it's... a few smaller ships. Let's make it 2 escorts. A monitor, that'll be the flagship. Gunship. And then another frigate. And they're up against an invading alien fleet, which isn't itself too big. But they're aliens, so they're scarier. That's too big. Well, actually, no, that's fine. Though the power disparity is pretty wide, actually. I might just... Yeah, let's make this a bit smaller. Make it a bit fairer. There we go. The 4 alien ships against double their number. Yeah, still more in the aliens' favor, but we'll see what happens. Let's make this a loose... God, so many formations. Let's make it a block. Get them all together. And forward. Alright, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so this is a skirmish battle. If you have fleets in the overworld encounter each other and they choose to fight, you can actually spend Delta V to run away if you want to. But if your forces choose to engage or out of fuel otherwise, they get to this. And here we have the International Space Station, which doesn't have any weapons on it, so it's kind of just everyone here is to just look out the windows and see, oh my god, But we have our human resistance fleet here. We have the alien... Oh, I need a pause, because that's problematic. We have the alien fleet here with their tiny ships. Not in the best formation. I think I kind of effed with them there. So, if any of you have played Kerbal Space Program, you control your ships a lot like that when it comes to movement. Oh, be Eric. If you want to play Xenophile, you can play as the servants. Yeah, you have an alien worshipping faction. You can't play as the aliens, but there's a faction that worships them, so you can definitely go that route. Anyway, so you plot the ships a lot like Kerbal Space Program, where you have these arrows where you can change their speed and direction. Why can't I control yours? What's going on here? Can I? Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's just that arrow. So you can change where they're going on different axes depending on which buttons you push. I forget which buttons I can push, actually. So you have full three-dimensional movement. I just forgot what buttons you press to change the orientation of the arrow. So what currently happens is the battle starts, and I just hit this button and let the AI fight itself. One of these days, I'll put the effort into remembering what buttons I need to press to control the arrows, but for the moment, let's just enjoy the fight. I'm gonna speed it up a bit since it's real time. Actually, we'll take a look at the different ships while we wait for them to engage. Alright, so what usually happens is, yeah, the first thing you do is pull in the radiators, because most of the early game ones are pretty fragile. And if they get destroyed and you don't have a heat sink, then the people on board your ship cook to death. Alright, so fortunately it seems like most of the ships I put on the list are Macross Missile Barrage ships, so those 4 alien ships are going to have a hell of a lot of missiles flying at them. But the aliens have already started firing their lasers. Oh, this battle might be over pretty soon. Whoop! Hello! It's also nice how they show missiles in this game. You have them, like, first fire off, and they don't... Oh, shit. Wow, you just danced right through those. That was impressive. I don't think I'll be able to parry this. Nope, Benny's gone. Alright, let's slow down just a bit. So now we have a lot of these missiles probably trying to change course. Or maybe they're out of fuel. I'm not quite sure. Alright, looks like the next round of missiles are on their way. If this guy's pretty fast, you can dance around him too. Though I am surprised that they're not firing anything. Oh, there he goes. Alright, looks like the gun... Oh, funny thing about this. This is actually a nuclear explosion. A small one, but this whole drive is actually just firing out bombs through the back and detonating them, and then using the shield to ride the explosion. It's fun. Look up Orion Drive, because it's a real thing. Or rather, a real concept. Alright, so it looks like the alien ships further back. Yeah, no, so the deployment kind of screwed over those gunships in the front. They didn't have the heavy hitters until now, and they're just catching up. Alright, hold on. Give this a little bit of a time boost. Oh geez, camera, work with me here. So it looks like pretty much all of the shots the human fleet fired are heading in the wrong direction, but we've got a couple of shots heading towards this monitor, I believe. Frigate, actually. Currently missing. Well, look at this one go. He's dancing. So the thing to know about the aliens is that in the beginning of the game, they have incredible amounts of Delta V. They will always be able to outrun your ships, either on the battlefield or just on the, you know, map in space. Like, the most amount of Delta V you'll be able to put on your ships in the beginning of the game is 9 or 10, unless you dump a whole lot of fuel into them. Meanwhile, the aliens are coming to Earth with hundreds of Delta V. So if in the early game you fight the aliens, it's probably because they underestimated you and let you catch up to them. Alright, human ship. The Resistance haven't lost any ships yet, but they've got 2 heavily damaged ones. And you have, you can have damage done to sectors of the ships. You could have a ship that survives the fight but loses its engine. I actually had to scuttle that one because there wasn't a way for me to retrieve it. Because I didn't have any other ships in play to either repair it or refuel it or whatever. And it was far from home. Careful, don't smack into the ISS, you're gonna hit it! I don't think this is modeled. It's probably gonna slide through it. Oh. Well, it didn't. It just cut it really, really close. Yeah, the heavier ships can't turn around fast enough, so it's gonna be on the smaller ships to do it. I'm thinking this might be a draw by virtue of the ships not being to come back into combat range. Except for this one here. Yeah, the alien ships are trying to turn around. I can't look at their... Oh yeah, see right down here, you can see the fuel for the ship. It's burning Delta V just to try and turn around. It's going to run out before it can get back in the game. So I'm going to flip this on to signal a surrender. But the aliens don't want to surrender, so I guess the battle continues. Alright, let's speed this up. Yeah, because it's 2 of them against the 1 monitor over here. None of the other ships are back in fighting range yet. Ooh, but the Behemoth's taking up real bruising. Nope, they got it. Got it again. Whoop. It's nice how nimble this thing is, relatively speaking. It's being bombarded, but it's just able to reorient itself in positions that dodge. Salute the men of the Monitor Vehement! Oh, it's out of Delta V. It's pretty much it's going to be stuck on its current course in about a sec. And that's it. It's out of fuel. It can reorient itself, but it can't change its course anymore. So I guess that raises the question on why its engines. Oh, and we just lost an escort, I think. How was that explosion? You can still get away, Vehement. Survive. Alright. What's going on with the Heracles? Not out of Delta V, but apparently not wanting to re-engage. Oh, they're still firing at the Vehement. Oh, there goes another one. Can the Vehement survive the barrage? Yeah, see, if I had let this go, each second could have been an actual second. We would have been here for 30 minutes. Where's the other one? Oh, you're having more fun. You're picking off the rest. Get out of here! Oh! 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 I think all the ships that had missiles have run out of ammo. That's kind of the downside of doing the missile barrage, is if you're not able to wipe out the fleet on that first hit, oh, you're a goner, because you don't really have much else to shoot with. The Vehement might get away by virtue of not being worth shooting at anymore. Alright, speed this back up. I don't think any other ships are in danger. Oh, it's not too soon. And all these little dots are the modules that the ship has, by the way. Some of them are modeled in a ship designer, some of them are not. Well, the early 2 kills probably boosted morale. But then they all died. Alright, now, bigger question, are they even going to be able to get to the next ones? Speed things up again. See what happens. Oh, a camera. Well, at least everyone on board the ISS had a great light show, and then watched all their friends die. Yeah, the Vehement's in trouble again. Oh, it's getting flanked. Oh, it's caught in the crossfire. Salute the Vehement! Vehement. Vehement. I can't quite remember if there's ship-to-ship boarding in this game, but you can take over, like, alien habs and bases. Space stations and bases with Marines. You can make a ship that has Marine modules on it, and you can use that to invade. Man, it has taken a lot of licks, though. Look at that. I wonder if that must be the armor holding, or something, because it's not taking much damage when those hit. But it's just taking so many, you can't dodge them anymore because it's out of fuel. So the one benefit about this ship, though, is that you can see its radiators are still deployed. So whatever residual heat it's getting, it is able to expel it, or at least some of it. Though it does look like... Actually, yeah, it does look like the radiator has taken some damage. Oh, and there it goes. 3 ships remain. I'm not sure how well they're gonna fare. Alright, looks like our gunship over here has caught up. Oh, and it died. I was about to say, and it actually still has a gun working, and then, oh, no, it's dead. Yeah, unfortunately, both of the ships, yeah, they're pretty much out of fuel, so this is a foregone conclusion. We'll watch them blow up in super fast motion. Oh, except for maybe the Corvette over here with almost no fuel. Yeah, no, so this is kind of showing the power disparity here. Oh, wait. Maybe I was doing this a bit too rashly. You still have some weapons left. Oh, but not anymore, because you did. And, that's your nice sampling of the stuff that can happen in Terra Invicta. Sorry we had to suffer a devastating loss. I was hoping I was giving the humans a bit of an advantage, but apparently not. Now the aliens close in on the ISS and terror unfolds. But Shiamida Lord, thank you for the resub. Alright, folks. That is going to be it for me tonight. I may be back tomorrow. I'm not sure with what. It may be more Digimon Survive, it may be more Terra Invicta, or it may be me faffing about in Fortnite, because for some reason I'm back in the game now. Boo. Let's see here. Who to send you off to, though? We got Zero drawing, and we got Brachiozoid playing Moonbreaker. I'll send you guys off to Brachy. Until we see each other again, or hear each other again, chat, I hope you all have a great night, perhaps a great weekend, in case something keeps me from the computer tomorrow. And stay sane. Bye!